Okay, so here we are. We are in week 2 of our 90 days. We are on day 10. Are you guys keeping track of the days on your calendars? So yes, hi. That's one of the things that I wrote out. I think it's kind of pretty cool to keep track of things, just so you can sort of see where your progress is. So whatever calendar you use, I'm old school. I use law of attraction. It literally never leaves my side. And I just have like the day up at the top. So I sort of know, like today I realized it was day 10. I'm like, we're 10 days in. We have 80 left. So I think it's pretty cool just to sort of track your progress and see that sort of thing. So we're going to kick off with just like a few housekeeping things, and then we're going to jump right in to our content tonight. So everybody sort of voted. I don't know if everybody got a chance to vote, but it was an overwhelming amount that Thursday nights at 9 o'clock, clearly it's Lavelle Live. And we do not want to take the opportunity away from you to be on Lavelle Live, especially when, we want to hear the stories, and Paul's jumping on some of these occasionally. So everyone voted. It was overwhelming to switch it to Mondays. So we're going to start next Monday and start rolling with the Mondays. I think we said 8:15. Is that right, you guys? 8:15. And we're going to shorten it down instead of an hour, because I think sometimes at the end of an hour, we're like, oh, that was a lot. And so we're going to shorten it down to 45 minutes and really try and have just like some really good coaching and content for y'all the first like 25 to 30 minutes. And then the last part, let's just like, you guys chat and ask questions and have some open dialogue. And we'll still be recording them. I'm sorry about the recording last week. I think I put it on some sort of like secret setting on YouTube and I couldn't figure out how to change it. So there we go. Was that last week or was that the Huddle? I can't remember, but one of them I did that too. And I know people couldn't watch the recording. So so we're going to be switching to Monday night Zooms, and then we're doing a team huddle. And even if I know there's a handful of people that are not, specifically on Amber or my team, but you guys are more than welcome to join the huddle on Sunday nights. We're really just doing, it's not any sort of training or anything specific. It's more about mindset and just sort of getting you pumped up and ready for the week. So if you guys want to join that, it's going to be on the same Zoom link. So first off, I am going to introduce Bonnie. Oh yeah, go ahead, Pam.
So the Sunday huddle, what time is that?
That is at 8:30. Sorry, thank you.
Okay, and is there any way the Monday could be at 8:30, or are you guys firm with the 8:15?
Well, I think we were trying to do 8:15 to 9.
Okay.
Because there's something that happens at 9. I can't remember what it was. So we're trying. Okay. Come on and come late. Like if you can't get there, we'll have it. I'm going to do my best to record them all and upload them right away.
Okay.
And so you'll be able to squeeze in that 15 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Yep. So I want to toss it over to Bonnie and have her share a little bit. You guys may or may not know Bonnie, but Bonnie actually started out as a promoter. Bonnie, how long ago was it? Like 2 years maybe?
Mm-hmm. It was about 2017. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm going to toss it over to you. I want you to share a little bit about like your past, but then I really specifically want you to talk about your mindset and your heart and what has happened since you've been doing, right before the 90 days and what's happened to you in the last 10 days.
Okay. Well, I'll start out with my story from 2017 when I originally started. I feel like God led me to thrive back again. And back in 2017, I knew that I love these products and that I believed in them. And my friend, she shared them with me. And I was like, yeah, this sounds great, because I felt the energy. She knew that I was a tired mom and that I needed energy. And I didn't really think long about it. I just hit that promoter button. I didn't know really what I was doing. I was like, oh, I want to share with everybody I know. And I was like on fire about it. And so just fast forwarding through that time, during that time, I was doing great. I was making like, at 4K status. And I noticed, taking that time, talking to customers and training, I was neglecting my family. So I had to actually stop promoting because I was neglecting my children, and I started seeing behavioral issues, which made me not to be able to focus too much on my customers and being their cheerleader and supporting them like I'm supposed to. So fast forward to this year, I feel like God led me back to Thrive. He gave me another chance by, out of the blue, a friend of mine said, I cannot afford Thrive anymore. I didn't have the products anymore because I didn't have the credits. I just had that one customer, and I just kept on accruing little bit by little, credits. And she literally said, I cannot afford it anymore. So here, what I have left over. And I felt like that was an answer prayer, because I had prayed prior to that, like, Lord, as you will it to be, I will get to Thrive again. And so I made my first order, I say around June 14th. I decided go all in, order my month of Thrive, and just take a leap of faith and see how it goes. And my prayer then, I just want to thrive for free. That's basically it. And so I led with that mindset, just to thrive for free, and anything else would be an extra blessing. Well, after getting into it for 2 months, I didn't see anything like progressing right away. I just kept it, in prayer, asking the Lord to lead me and guide me. And he showed me that you got to lead with your heart. And that's where I'm going to bring back to where we are now. I've been leading with my heart. My heart is to help people. That's my passion. And that's what I love about Thrive, that we are all in the same mindset of helping people, leading with our heart, thinking outside of the box if we have to, because we were once there where we felt desperate for something, a change. And I, can put myself in people's shoes. I can relate to them a lot better. And so that's what I've been doing recently. God has been showing up and showing out with that promo with the 30 accounts. I boldly said, God, as you will it to be, I'll get 30 accounts. And sure enough, I got 30 accounts. And I was like, God, because you blessed me with this, I'm going to give a month of Thrive away up to $214. And I'm going to do it in a drawing. That way I can draw some interest. And because of that post, it brought more people to me, and they were interested in thriving. And I signed up 3 people in that 1 week during that promo, the $60 rebate. And all I can say is, praying about it, giving it to God, because I had it all out of order when I first started. I was so about Thrive. That was first, that I neglected my family. And now I'm trying to put it back in the right order, learning how to balance my time and Thrive training as well. Because with y'all, y'all teaching me how the best to communicate to people about Thrive, and not just be so pushy and spammy, if you will. Just be about their needs, seeing what they need and see how you can meet that need. Recently, I signed up a complete stranger yesterday. I was like overwhelmed with excitement because I just posted on a random post and said, I love about my 3 simple steps, how it's finally helping me to lose my inches off of my body, and that I can feel more confident about myself. And that's all I did. And I was like, if you want to know more, I'll be glad to share more. And several people respond saying they want to know more, and they would message me, and I would get nothing in return. I would say, hey, here's my information, just a little bit, because I have learned in the training just to give a little bit to whet their appetite. And so that's all I did. But then this one person, she responded, we kept in conversation back and forth, and I didn't hear from her for 2 days. And then just yesterday, she said, Bonnie, I'm ready to order. And I was like, okay, all right, well, you can call me or you can message me on here. We can walk through it. She said, nope, I'm going to call you, and I want you to do the whole order for me. She gave me her credit card and everything. I did it all on the phone. I was like, okay. And I just shared with her how God blessed me. I want to bless other people. And she said, Bonnie, I really believe you. You're genuine, and that you really want to help me, and I trust you. And so I just want to say that's what I've been doing, leading with my heart, thinking outside of the box, taking everything that I'm hearing from the calls, Zoom meetings that I'm able to participate and just going with that.
I'm so proud of you. You've really pushed yourself out of your comfort zone on so many things. And that's the thing, you guys, we all have different things that we're strong at, and we all have different things that we can grow at. But when we really push ourselves, and that's what this challenge is about. Part of it is getting out of our comfort zone, getting good at something we're not, getting great at something we're good at. And so you've really pushed yourself out of your comfort zone in so many ways. And we're really, really proud of you. And, I'm glad that you were able to share tonight. And I'm sure it encouraged other people to do some of the same. So thank you. Does anybody else have any quick shout outs? I want y'all to think about them, and we're going to, at the end, have some time for everybody to sort of shout out maybe something you've overcome this week, or something about one of those goals that you are working towards and where you're at with it. This is part of our accountability, right? It's part of you have your accountability partners, but it's also part of our accountability as a group to hold each other accountable, to show up and to be better every single time we Zoom. So I'm going to toss it over to Amber, because she has a really cool story that she's going to share with you guys about borrowed confidence.
Yeah. Hey guys. So I was on a call with Paul. I think it was, what day did he have that 11 o'clock call? It was just like popped up with one of those unannounced, okay, Paul's going to get on the line, jump on, see what he's got to say. And like, there was a lot of things in that call that like fired me up, that I was like, heck yeah, he's right. I'm not doing that. He's, hitting some chords here. There was some things that he said that he was spot on, that honestly, like, made me mad, but it made me mad at myself, because I hear these things. I, hear them from other leaders all the time. To hear him say it, it's like, okay, that struck a chord with me. So, the importance of dialing into as many live calls as you can, especially if they're corporate calls or big leaders or Paul's on the line. You guys, that, I don't know, for me and Kelly, I'm sure you're going to nod in agreement. A lot of you guys will, that it just pumps me up. Like, there's nothing quite like catching it as it's coming out of his mouth, in that excitement, and just firing me up, keeping me motivated, giving me that big picture of there's so many other lives out there to change and impact, that I could be the person that could do that. So got on that call, and I had already planned that afternoon to go get my nails done. So ran over to the nail salon and was sitting there waiting my turn. Okay. And this other lady walks in, a stranger, and she sits down beside me, and we start chatting. And like when she first walked in and sat down, I was looking at the nail colors, and I made the comment. I was just like, this is the worst part. Like, I hate this decision. I always like overthink, what color am I going to paint my nails, which is just silly, but I always do it. And so she said, she like put her nails out, and she said, oh, that's why I always just do the French manicure, because it goes with everything. And so she said, but my nails are really, thin and brittle, and they're like paper, and they peel off. And in that moment, like, I could have just been like, yeah, that stinks for you. Yeah, whatever. And change the subject, and not worried about going anywhere with this conversation. Right. But I didn't. I got out of my own way. I didn't take that time at the nail salon to be like, you know what, this is my hour. I'm not going to work right now. Because I could have very easily slipped into that mentality and mindset too. Right. But I checked in, I looked at her, and I was like, mine used to be the exact same way. I know the pain with that, and the frustration with having, thin fingernails that just peel away. And so she looked at my nails, and she said, but yours are real, right? They're not tips. You don't have like acrylic. And I was like, no, these are mine. And she was like, they are so healthy. And I said, yeah. I said, I've got to say that it's my vitamins. I take killer, like, rock star vitamins. And she was like, what kind? And I was like, this is my end right here. This is where I can like totally like change this genuine conversation that we were just talking about nail colors, and introduce her to what I do and what I'm passionate about. So I was like, it's a product called Thrive. And she stopped and like looked up at me, and she was like, I know Thrive. And I said, oh yeah? And she said, yeah, I was on it for a month. She said, I loved it. I absolutely loved how I felt on it. But she said, I couldn't, keep paying for it. And then my promoter kind of stopped talking to me, or the person that I was working with kind of stopped talking to me, or, telling me anything more about it. So she didn't know she could earn the product for free. The promoter, that whoever had talked to her about it, had totally dropped the ball. And then we got into a whole different conversation. She said, I have a friend at my child's school who has also had this like amazing journey. And the more she was talking about this friend, I said, is her name Cheryl? And she said, yes. And I said, Cheryl is thriving with me. She's been thriving with me for like 2 years. She has a phenomenal story and like these crazy, crazy, amazing results. And she was like, you know what? She said, if I knew I could get a better deal on it, I would jump back on it right now. And I'm like, I'm happy to help you. I was like, are you on Facebook? She said, no, I'm not on Facebook. But she said, can I get your phone number and send you a text and we can talk after we leave here? I'm like, absolutely. But you guys, had I not been on that call and gotten that kind of fired up mentality, I probably wouldn't have had that conversation. I probably would have taken that hour to be like, this is my downtime. I'm not going to work. I'm going to check out mentally and just enjoy this hour. So, I mean, even as, Kelly and I, leaders, that have been here for a while, we go through the same struggles of finding the courage to talk to those strangers, to find the motivation sometimes, to always kind of, be looking for new opportunities. But I think those calls are like paramount in your business and your growth. I lived on them when I first started, and anytime now I can jump on one and catch, Paul's words, it's gold. It's gold. And I walk away every time just fired up, ready to make big things happen again. So that's my fun story for the week.
I love it. It's awesome. And you're so right. Like it is, fear, it was one of the things that I'm so glad that you talked, and it segues in right to, I think it was Lacey brought it up in our conversation, earlier in the chat about being fearful of things. And you guys, everybody is fearful of certain things. And this specific business, I really do think that it is the it is one of the best growing as a person, because you really start to analyze yourself. You really start to analyze the way that you communicate with people and how you show up in your life, and what your strengths are and maybe what your opportunities. I don't like to call them weaknesses because they're not. They're just opportunities for us to improve ourselves on, but we do have to identify them. So I think identifying like what you're fearful of is incredibly encouraging, right? It is encouraging that you know what it is. And so Amber could have, that could have been a really fearful situation. It could have been a situation that she checked out. Who, by like a show of hands, or is fearful of having a conversation about the business? Okay, so a handful of people. Who finds that they're fearful of approaching, like starting up a conversation with someone that you've never met before? Like you're just meeting and you're having a conversation. Like you hesitate. You're fearful of talking about Thrive to them, just the product. Oh, good. Okay, so not as many. That's awesome. All right, so who has a fear of reaching out to people that they know really well? Okay. I thought that would be more. Yeah, I do too. So it's, we're all right there together. But one of the things when I was thinking about this topic of fear, I love quotes, and I really look for inspiration and look for quotes to sort of like imply like what we're really trying to come through. And one of the quotes that I want to read you guys that just struck me so much was fear is temporary, regret is forever. So fear is temporary, regret is forever. And I began to think about like how that applies to us. So I will tell you, I've been in so many situations where I wanted to say something, but I didn't, because I was fearful of the outcome. I was fearful of rejection. I was fearful of judgment. Of what somebody would think of me, of what I was fearful that they were thinking I was going to try to sell them something. And then they would judge me because I'm trying to sell them something, right? but we have to, is when we identify what it is that's holding us back from having those conversations, from talking to people that we know, from talking to strangers, from bringing up the business, whatever it is that we're specifically fearful of, if we can, yeah, I agree with you, Pam. If we can focus on not attaching the outcome to like the actual action and to our result, then we will practice and we will be better at things. Flip it to the other side, that if you never say anything at all, the regret that you have, because I've had those conversations where I walked out, or I thought, I mean, I've had this happen to me where I so want to say something to someone. I want them, like, I know they would be great at the business. I know the product would rock their world, and I'm fearful, or I'm hesitant, or I just sort of like put it on the back burner for a little bit. And then a month, 2 months, 3 months later, I see that they're doing a different nutrition company. That's happened to me a lot. I see that they're doing something else, and that's regret on my part. I had the opportunity. It was a thought in my mind, and I was fearful. It happened to you recently, Keisha. So we have to, I think the first step, and I don't know if there are certain things in life, I don't know if you're really afraid of, if you're really like fearful of it. I don't know if you technically ever get over it, because you still probably have maybe a little bit of that fear, but I think you learn how to apply yourself in those situations. You learn the skill set, and you have to do it through practice. So my motto is, which some of you have probably heard this from me, if you're afraid of it, if you're like hesitating to do it, that's exactly what you should be doing a lot of. Like if you're hesitant, I know for me, I was very hesitant a few months ago to approach people about the business. I never did. I never went straight to the business because I was fearful that people of what would come of it. And then I accepted a challenge, and for 30 days straight, all the conversations I had was about the business. Well, I got 6 new team members that month. I mean, yes, I may have had 200 interactions with people, but those were 6 new team members that would have never, ever tried the product, or never, and there was several more customers that came along with that, right? So you sort of have to, take whatever that fear is. Like Lacey, do you mind to like share specifically what your fear is?
Hold on. There we go. I got it. Okay. I think I finally figured it out. I had a nice, great conversation with Bonnie this morning, who's my accountability partner. Thank goodness. She's been wonderful through all this. But I started thinking about it, and way back on the first call, we kind of talked a little bit about our avatar training and stuff, and you having us create our avatar. And as I was doing that, I realized that some of my hardest no's have been from that initial idea of who I was going after. And it's people that, I thought would be fun and would be really good at running the business. And they were also people who are really personally close to me. And so I've kind of put certain people up on a higher pedestal when I ask them about those things, and to have that not work out, I think has been a little hard, but I've got to get through those no's, and I understand that in order to get to my yeses. And the people that I do have on my team have been wonderful surprises. They've been, blessing in disguise. So I've just got to stop overthinking that and being so scared and so hurt by some of those people that I've been asking. And I just have to realize, they're just not ready for it, or, it's not me that they're not, because I still talk to every single one of those people every single day. I mean, they're my closest knit. And it's just hard for me because I want to be able to share with them everything that's going on in my Thrive life too.
Yeah.
And that's been extremely hard too. But I found the support in you all, kind of being able to build me up on that side. And so I got to focus on that. I got to focus on the good, and, you know, just because, and maybe readjust to my avatar is a little bit more, and reach kind of more outside that inner circle of friends that I had been kind of bugging.
Yeah. No, and I think that that's great. I think we actually all, if you think back to your first probably 6 months doing this, the people that you really thought, I know Abby and I have had conversations about this recently, the people that you really thought were going to be great, they were going to love the product, they would rock the business, it would just be a natural fit in their life, are the people that it never works out for. I think that that's actually a pretty common thing, and it's amazing how the people, if you open up the conversations, if you build other relationships, which is why this is network marketing, right? We're constantly networking with new people, and it doesn't mean that you get rid of the old. It just means it's not their time. I mean, I would say the majority of all of my really close friends that I have hung out with since this entire time, a handful of them now, it took them about 3 years to start thriving, and actually a handful of them do now. It started with one person saying yes, and then there's a trickle effect from that one person, but none of them do the business. And would I love them to? Yes. But I also do think, just on the flip side, that sometimes when you do, like with your people who you're with all the time, it can get complicated. So in the long run, it may be a blessing in disguise.
Well, it's been I guess I just realized that it's been a little lonely. Do you know what I mean? In that sense, because I see how much value it's added to my life, and I so want that for them. You know, it's the same conversation over and over again. It's like Groundhog's Day, you know, oh my gosh, I don't sleep. Oh my gosh, you know, this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, you know, and I don't want to bring up a fight because I've been told, whoa, we're not talking about this. You know what I mean? And so you just sit there and, you know, it wears on you. It really does. And it does kind of wear on those relationships. And some of them are family too, and you can't do much with blood. So you got to put up with them. So it's just, that's been challenging.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and I will also share with you guys, some of y'all know, but none of, like, my husband's the only person in my family that thrives. Some of them have never tried it, refused to try it. And so that it is a little bit hard to sort of get past that. And I will say that there are some times in this business you are going to grow, and the people in your life right now are not. And they want to stay in that miserable place. Misery loves company, right? They want to stay there. And guess what? You're growing. You're growing in your mindset. You're growing in who you are. You're growing in your goals and your strength. And they're not. And I mean, that's a point. I mean, listen, I've analyzed my personal friendships based on that too. And it just depends on where you are. And it does take a strong person to be able to sort of separate it. You know, just this evening we were at a meeting and everybody was having a girls' night. They were like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, I have goals. I have, you know, obligations. Like, you guys have fun. I'll catch you next time. And yes, do I want to go? And if I wasn't in a 90-day run, I probably would have. But the reality is there'll be another one. And you will earn respect. And if you don't, who cares? They're not feeding your life. They're not paying your bills. They're not helping you save for your retirement, and they're not paying for your kids' future. Right? So
there's a quick quote I want to share with you guys.
Yes, share away.
Somebody posted it the other day, and I just pulled it up because when I read it, I was like, yeah. Have you ever met a hater doing better than you?
Isn't that the truth? I like that, girl. That's a good one. Drop that in our chat group. But I think the fear, you guys, and then I know we want to open it. There's one or two other things we want to talk about before we open it up. But the fear, walk away from tonight realizing what you're fearful of. Whether it's a certain conversation, maybe it's not something specific to Lavelle. Maybe it's something in the gym. Maybe it's something in your personal life. Maybe it's, maybe it's something at work. Walk away with that and figure out what it is. And then you should tackle that. You should have those conversations. You know, for me, it was having conversations about the business. So I spent 30 days like focusing on that. I have no problems now. Now I need to like sort of hold myself back. Like, it's not time to say that yet. But now I feel super confident in that. But it's not because I'm great at it. It's just because I got over my fear because I practiced it enough. And I really think that, you know, and talk to your accountability. I love that you and Bonnie were talking about that. You know, use your accountability partner, you know, during your weekly check-ins, and talk about what it is and give each other challenges. I'm fearful of this, you know, throw a challenge out to someone. One of the other things that I wanted to talk about, I know that this was on the topics for last week and we didn't get to it, but how to balance, like, because it goes along with this, how to balance a friendly conversation. And Amber, chime in, because I'm sure you'll have some things to say about this. How to balance a friendly conversation versus asking for the order. And I really think it's important, and I don't know who has been through like any sort of sales training or anything like that, but those of you who've been in pharmaceuticals, we went through very intense like sales training. Yeah, like all the time. And there's so many models about how to read people. I don't even know them all because we did too many of them. But one of the things that always stuck with me was finding someone's pain. And my husband, he goes through sales training now in his job, and he's constantly reminding me about finding someone's pain. So finding someone's pain is like, what motivates them? What drives them? Like when Amber was talking to me, like she knew that I drank a lot of Red Bull and that I drank a lot of Starbucks, and she knew that. She knew that I wanted to be there for my kids, but I was probably too tired and I was probably taking naps on the weekend. Bingo, she was right. She knew enough about me to know that I didn't like that in my life. That was something I wanted to change. She could talk to me about my pain. The business side, find out what their pain is. Is it money? Do they not want to live paycheck to paycheck? Do they want to get out of debt? Is it time? They want more time. They want to be able to travel. Find what that is for that person, and then have a conversation around it. You know, get to know who they are, because when you really are leading with your heart and you're conversating, you're hoping that it ends up in a Thrive discussion. But if it doesn't, you know, you're building a relationship, you're building a friendship, and you're probably helping that person out, right? Most likely, it's going to end up in that. And I think like sometimes it comes to a point in the conversation, like I am the world's greatest at conversating, but then like conversating too much that it's like, it's kind of awkward now to like talk about Thrive. So for me, what works is really just bringing it in as soon as possible, you know, talking to them about what they do for a living, talking to them about traveling, you know, where they've gone on vacation, you know, find what it is that they feel like they're missing in their life, especially from a product standpoint. And I love to just call it out and just say to people, like, you would love this. Like, why, you know, you would love taking the Thrive experience. You would be awesome at what I'm doing. And just sort of pique their interest and really, really get them on the phone, get them on a Zoom with a leader and just introduce people and let them do the talking and the selling for you. And again, the more you have friendly conversations, the more, the better you'll get at it, right? Amber, you have anything to add on that topic?
If I can unmute myself. No, I mean, just exactly what you said. It's just having those conversations, having the live conversations. You know, I think doing a three-way text or chat is great, but as soon as you can actually like hear a voice and let somebody hear your voice and another person's voice, that's really 150%. That's where this whole thing takes a new direction and really shifts for that person being curious to the person being ready. And if you're not good about getting people on the phone, work on that. Like that can be your challenge for the next week and then the rest of this 90 days, because when you get good at that and really consistent with just saying, you know, when can I call you for 5 minutes, and having those conversations, if they're reluctant to get on the phone, send them a voice clip like in Messenger. Instead of typing it out, send that minute voice clip with your actual voice, because when they hear your words and your excitement versus reading it on on the text on the screen, totally different story. It changes the what is the word I'm trying to look for? the interest level just peaks higher quicker when they actually hear a voice behind it and not just words on a screen.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So those were some objections that we didn't get a chance to really cover, last week, as far as, the fear and having those conversations, but really talking about the pain points. And so, we do have like some other training things that if you guys sent in things, like we will get to those, and we may, if we don't find that we can get to them in a timely manner on the Zooms, we may add in just like something on United We Thrive for everyone, and that could encompass, because I know there's, Instagram training and time management as far as like job, thrive, personal life, family life, the felt messages and following up and organizing, and then how to turn happy thrivers into promoters and sort of what that conversation looks like. So if there's anything that you want to add to that list, definitely shoot me. I'm keeping sort of a tally. Shoot me a message and we'll add to it. But right now, let's just open it up, and we've got about 10 more minutes. If anybody has anything that you want to shout out about you or your accountability partner that you did really well this week, if you want to talk about your avatar training from last week, and if that has, if you have any questions about that or any questions at all, I'm going to toss it out to you guys. Don't be shy. I mean, I can keep talking, but I'm sure y'all are tired of hearing me talk.
I am trying to figure out the avatar because I, like Lacey, one person was really Nancy negative, and every time I go to post, her face comes in my mind and it just breaks me down. And I'm not normally that, I feel weak when that happens. And it's just because some of the things that were said were just so hurtful. And it's like you could dangle and say, I'm going to give you a Mercedes-Benz, and they wouldn't listen to you. You could tell them, I'm going to give it to you if you just try the product. And they're still not going to try the product just because they don't want to be a helper. They don't want to fail. They don't want to whatever. What if it works? Then they're going to look bad. So the whole avatar training, I need to force myself to get that picture, even if it's a friend of mine who supports me no matter what. Maybe that's the picture I need to put right up on my screen, so that when I'm putting out a post, that I don't get dragged down by that one single person. Yeah.
And I do think, I don't know if you're if you're close to this person or whatever, but unfriending them and just hiding them. If you don't want to unfriend them, hide them in your newsfeed so they're not like a constant reminder. You could definitely do that. And I do think you have to replace that negative interaction with some positive interactions, which, and that will go away, but I think you have to have some positive things come in to sort of replace that memory or overcome that fear. And so with the avatar, think of characteristics instead of necessarily people. So instead of that specific person, think of like, what were one or the two characteristics that made you think that person was going to like it, and take that characteristic and take other characteristics from other people that you feel like you can speak to, and sort of create that image or that person in your head. It doesn't necessarily have to be an exact person. I know when I mentioned last week, Nicole and I, Nicole was my avatar, and we both sort of identified that. It wasn't because I said, I want to attract people like Nicole. It was because I created the avatar and I was describing the avatar, and it was like, wait, that's kind of like you. So creating that characteristic list, and then creating the vision of who that is.
Got it. Yep. Thank you.
Yep. And it takes practice, you guys. Nicole, you're funny. You too, girl. I got it all right here. But I think that does help, and it takes like practice. There are still times that I'm like, I don't really know if that spoke specifically. But I think the more and more you practice, and the more you keep it at top of mind, it will really benefit you.
I'm going to add something too that happened to me last week, or very beginning of this week. It was Sunday night, I think. When we talk about doing your reach outs and trying to be genuine, I mean that. Like, go to the person's page, scroll through a couple of their, posts and pages to see something about them, because when you're not genuine, it's going to show. I had someone reach out to me from Lavelle, not in our network, of course, but this was like the third time she had tried to reach out asking if she could talk to me about her opportunity. And her message to me said, I just follow you on Facebook. I think you have a great personality. You could tell it was cut and paste. She'd probably sent that to 100 other women. And the first time she sent it, I just kind of ignored it. I was like, okay, it's probably just an oversight. The third time I finally did get back to her, and I was like, I really appreciate your determination. I think this is like, good work ethic. But if you had looked at my page, you would see that I already promote the same product as you. So it was obvious she hadn't been to my page. I mean, I have Lavelle and Thrive all over my Facebook. So she just saw a name and just was blasting out copy paste messages. So it's going to go a lot further for you guys if you know something, a baseline, something that you can reach out and connect with from a very genuine place, and let it grow from there.
That's so funny that you said that, because I actually had the opposite just happen to me literally right before we got on this message. I was that person reaching out to someone who is already a promoter, but they didn't have it anywhere on their page. Like, there is nothing that we have one mutual friend in common, and they don't even live anywhere on the East Coast, and they are a thriver, but they have nothing at all. And I have reached out to this person 6 times, no response. Finally, they wrote to me. They're like, I've been a promoter for over a year. You've been reaching out to me. I just wanted you to know. I was like, great. Thanks for telling me.
So how's your business going?
Yeah. They didn't respond back to me, but I told them I was really excited. But it is funny, but I did take the time to look, and I went back and looked, and I was like, gosh, how did I miss that? They have nothing on there about Thrive. So, but you have to sort of take it. Like, you can let something like that defeat you and be like, oh my God, I'm such an idiot. What does she think about me now? Like, I've sent her like a lot of messages, right? And I'm like, hey, at least she knows I'm consistent, right? But you have to laugh. And I'm just like, that's so great. Don't you love it? Have you used the CBD skincare? How's business? Hope it's good. Like, cheer her on, not be humiliated. So who else has got something that you want to anybody have anything awesome to share about this week?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I got out of my comfort zone this week and tried to talk to strangers, because I have promoted to most people that I know, not maybe closely as in best friends, but people that I work with or work for are in my classes. But I did a little thing on Facebook and Instagram about getting 4 new customers and sending out free samples. And I hadn't tried that before, so I did. And so I had 3 people to mail to, and I was making these cute little emoji packages with their samples in it. I was having such a fun time in the UPS store. And I've been carrying cards in my wallet, business cards in my wallet, just in case, because you never know when you're going to get into a situation where you can pass your information along and have something to give to someone versus walk away and just say, hey, I'll follow up with you. So I've been carrying those. And I went up to mail my packages, and some woman walks in behind me, and she says something about, yeah, the kids. And she was really loud, and I was distracted, and I turned around to the lady checking me out, and I said, whoa. She said, I just don't know how some of these people come in here with all this energy. And I was like, me neither, but I'm feeling pretty good myself today. And she said, yeah, I just have this daughter, and she's running around, and she's just got all this energy. And I'm just like, I wish I had half of that. And it was just leading me to breaking into that conversation, and I was sitting there. You know how sometimes you get someone talking and they're saying the right things and you're fearful, and your mind starts going like this, and you're like, okay, I could say this and I could say that, and when do I say it, and do I say it or not, and you're like, bah! And you all of a sudden just kind of want to scream something like you have Tourette's. So I just calmed my mind and I said, look, what do I have to lose, Abby? I don't know her. She seems awesome. She's striking up this conversation with me. So I said, you know what? That's so funny. You're talking about energy. That's exactly what's in those packages I'm sending out to these 3 people. And she was like, oh, well, she had already asked me what was in the packages because that is her job, right? Works for UPS. And I said, oh, vitamins. And she was like, okay. And then she said that. And I said, it's all about energy in those packages. And she said, wow, I mean, I really need it. And I said, well, look, I have my card here. Why don't I just give you my card? And she immediately whipped out her store card. She wrote down her email address. There's a phone number there for her. It's right here. And I followed up with her. Have not yet heard back from her, but she's got a lot going on with her daughter and work. But the contact is there, and I'm not going to give up on her. And it's someone, I have no clue who she is. We haven't even crossed that boundary yet, but it's a contact and it's a lead, and it's someone that was interested in talking to me at least. And she led me to the conversation. So had I not, like Kelly had said before, talked to her about it or even entertained talking to her about it, I would have walked away from that conversation regretting it. So I was super proud of it. Although it's not a sale yet, I'm going to make it a sale, but it's she needs it, and she seems like she understands why she needs it. And I think it's for her daughter and her family and balancing what she's doing at UPS plus her family. So it's just a great solid lead. So
that's awesome. And here's the thing, the next time you're in that situation, you'll be more confident, right? Because you got over like that fear. And I know that mind thing, like jumping in, say this, say that, it happens to me every single time. But that's awesome. So good job, girl.
Next time you go to UPS, I would take a sample for her and be like, you were on my heart this morning. So I packaged this up just for you. I feel a little bit like a drug dealer right now, slipping this to you, but I want you to experience what I'm talking about, because you're going to be blown away with how good you feel.
That's such a good idea, because yes, I'm going to go back there to mail more packages out, and I'm going to see her. So it's a great way to just keep following up. And, but that's
yes.
Yeah.
So really quick, Jane asked about putting the business profile. So I think it's just a personal preference. I've done both. I've had it on there before, and I've not had it on there. You know, right now I don't think I have it on. I don't think I have it on there like listed, but I do have like a hashtag in there. But if you go to my page, you're going to clearly see. I always sort of use the rule of thumb because I don't want someone to go to my page and all they see is thrive, right? But I do want somebody to be able to scroll down at least in my first 4 to 5 posts, because normally if somebody's going to look at your page, they're just scrolling like a first few posts. I want them to be able to see something thrive. A great way that I love to do it is to share the fan page stories. And if you don't want to click from the share from the actual fan page, you can copy and paste it and create an album. And like, I know Elise taught us this a while, like over a year ago. I just write my friends' stories. I mean, they're my friends. I may not have met them, but they're my Thrive friends. But put their stories in there, because what ends up happening in albums is you click on it and then you just keep going and it takes you to the next picture. And so before you know it, people are like looking through 100 and something photos of your friends and their Thrive stories are attached. So, my personal opinion is somewhere on there have something that shows you do something from a nutritional standpoint. You know, you don't necessarily have to say it's Thrive if you want to go down the road of attraction marketing more. So just sort of depends on your style.
I personally like having my website on my bio, because if somebody is interested and they're like, okay, what is this sticker? What is this patch? And they put it together. Okay, it's Thrive. I would much rather them go to my Lavelle site and read legitimate, factual information about it than go into a Google search and typing in Thrive and seeing God only knows what, because the good, the bad, and the ugly is out there for everything, right? So I would much rather them have a link that they can go read straight from the source. That's just my opinion, though.
Yep.
I have a question for Amber. Amber, when you did the album with all the face before and afters, so when you set up an album, every time you add a picture, does it show up on Facebook then? Or how did we see that? Was that just because that was the day you created it?
No, every time you add a picture into it, it puts the album back into the feed with the
Ooh.
new picture. So I
Okay.
still find Thrive Skin pictures now and just add to the album. I actually need to put that on my to-do list because I've gotten slack about it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's the albums are great to use for Thrive Skin or from Facebook fan page stories.
Okay.
Yep.
And you have the skin one, and then you have the 1, 2, 3 before and afters? Because I've not seen any of those if you do.
No, I only have Skin right now.
Oh, okay.
I need to do an album for Lavelle Stories.
So when you sat down to set that up, you kind of were organized ahead of time so that you didn't keep going on and off so that it would keep bumping people.
Right.
Okay. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I would just do like a lot of different fun things. Like I have, if you look at my albums, I'll have like fun events. I have lifestyle getaways. I have, level up retreats. I just have like, and then I have different posts. Like if I'm doing, like I have one that's called Mom and Ain't Easy, like I'll throw stuff in like just different albums based on your posts. And I do my best to always keep whatever I'm posting in an album because the whole album pops up. And I have been told by people that scroll your page, I've been told that they do look through your albums. So Elise taught us that, I don't know, a while back. And I've always sort of just stayed with it. So anybody else have anything to add before we announce our MVP for the week? No. Okay. So anything else, you guys, we're going to be meeting Monday night. I know it is Labor Day. So we'll still be meeting. We'll still be doing the Huddle Sunday night at 8:30. They both will be recorded, but hopefully you can catch them live. So this week we decided, Amber and I just decided on our MVP, and this person really has overcome some out of their comfort zone challenges for the first 10 days and has really not only shown up for themselves, but pushed themselves out of their comfort zone, but is seeing results from doing it. So our MVP for this week goes to Bonnie. So congratulations, Bonnie. We're so proud of you. And shoot me your mailing address and you'll get a gift in the mail from Amber and I. So, and you guys, anything again that you guys feel that you need, I want you to know that why this has started is for you, each and every one of you, to reach your own goals. Okay. So if you feel like there was something that you need, you feel like, hey, let's do a specific training on something. You feel like you're not getting, the results or whatever it is. We're on day 10. We're still early on, but hopefully we're over the fact of getting into the groove. We're in our groove and we're really, really working on those daily actionable items that are going to get you to that goal. And just take each week what you learn and build upon it. But this week, really challenging yourself to, really, I guess it's not this week, it's 4 days till we meet again on Monday, but challenging yourself to identify your fear, at least one, and work on at least once a day doing something to overcome that fear. And guess what? You're probably not gonna be perfect the first time. Probably not perfect the second or third time. But the more that you practice, the more confident you'll get and the better that you'll be. And if you are interested in sharing on our next Zoom about something that you feel like you've grown or something you've learned or something that you think would be beneficial to others, let Amber or I know too. And be ready this weekend. I don't know what's coming, but I know it's going to be big. And if you are a 4K and have not hit 12K or people on your team have not hit 12K, run for that bonus. I know we have a few calls and things lined up for people, but definitely run for it. And just remember what your income producing activities are to reach that bonus. It's having conversations about what this product has done for you. Right? Having those conversations and moving them forward in the progress. Amber, we should probably have a chat at one of these about the funnel because I don't think we've talked about that in a really long time.
I wish Paul wouldn't have announced it today. I have people putting complete brakes on and I still have to reach my goal for, and now they're all frozen and nobody's ordering until September 1st. Is anybody else having that? Like, this just happened and now everybody is putting the brakes on.
Well, I don't know. I mean, doubles and triples is still going on. So I would definitely, I mean, that ends tomorrow. So, you know, hopefully people are working towards hitting doubles and hitting triples. And two, if you are at the end of the month and you're close to something, think about offering like an incentive, a contest for your specific team. That always, you know, to incentivize people if you have any sort of credits or anything like that. I have a feeling this weekend, I mean, in the past, I don't want to call it, but in the past, it's always been buy two, get one. And so, you know, be careful too about, you know, you have to figure out how you're going to promote that. Everybody promotes it a little bit differently. I know I personally load up on products, load up on a lot of products, load up on a lot of DFT so I can, people, you know, if I run out of credits, I can help them with that. But I don't know what to tell you about that, Pam, besides maybe offering them an incentive. And I have a feeling that's probably what it'll be. I'm really hoping, I'm adding to, if y'all want to add this to the prayer, your prayer list, that if it is willed for us, that we'll have a VIP reset sometime soon. I don't know. That would just be really great. We haven't had one in a really long time.
Very long. Pamela, it doesn't make sense to me at all why anybody would put brakes on right now, because still what you're doing this month, if you're getting people thriving with you this month, they're going to want to order again in September. So it's less work to do next month. I don't know. I don't understand the pump the brakes mentality. You never do that.
I know. But they want all 12,000 in 1 month. So they don't want anybody. I mean, oh well, my problem. I shouldn't be sitting in this spot. So.
All right, you guys, y'all have an awesome night. Be safe. Have a great Memorial weekend. Be careful, and we'll see you Sunday or Monday night.
Bye, guys. Good night.